What's going on, everybody? AHS Rules back again with another video. And if you're an OG from around the channel, you know I love ROH, and ROH is back. Now, it's definitely a little bit different, but I don't have the biggest problem with that. And I am subscribed to Honor Club, and tonight was the new beginning of the new era of Ring of Honor, a new era of Honor. They promoted it several different ways. And, you know, back in the day, I used to review ROH TV all the time. And so, as long as I have Honor Club, which I don't know how long it's going to be for, it's definitely going to be for this month, because I already paid for it, I will be reviewing the ROH TV. I also don't know how many other people will be reviewing ROH TV, so I was like, let me be a little bit different and be reviewing this. This is like, I'm not reviewing Raw, SmackDown, Dynamite. This is Rampage, baby. I will review ROH TV, and here we go with the first episode. Now, I do have one small complaint. One, they didn't have like an opening graphic intro thing, like a intro, which I thought, oh, it's a new area you do. They jumped right into the action. Not the biggest problem, but my problem did come with, it was only on the live stream feed, which somewhat makes sense, but with it not being live, it would have been a lot better for viewers if they could just click on it and watch it. Because I do have to admit, I've had to use the restroom for at least an hour and a half, and I couldn't pause it and whatnot, and I didn't want to miss anything. So this is going to be more of a quicker review. That way I can go to the restroom. But it is what it is. I did take a lot of notes, though. So the first match was Slim J versus Mark Briscoe. They made sure to note that Mark's older brother, Jay Briscoe, competed in the first match in ROH, and it's a big deal. So it was a big deal that Mark Briscoe competed in the first match of the new era of ROH. Mark starts off with Redneck Kung Fu, but smart Mark Sterling, who I had no clue that he was associated with Slim J and Ari Daivari in the Trust Busters. It's either Truth Busters or Trust Busters. I think Trust Busters is the right one. Mark hits a drop kick to the outside, but due to the... Then he hits a dive. He tries to attempt a dive. I'll admit, I'm not very good at handwriting. And so I was like, whatever, right there. He tried to attempt a dive to the outside with a chair, but Slim J moves out of the way. Slim J then kicks it. Slim J goes to the top rope at one point and kind of hits, I want to call it, like, they didn't say what it was, but I'm going to call it a Turbo of Paradise to the Mark off the top rope, which was very interesting. Then, after that, Slim J works the arm of Mark Briscoe with a body scissors, and then he tries to attempt a headlock. Mark hits a Razor's Edge and a Spicoli driver, or Death Valley driver, whichever one you want to call it. Then, Mark does miss the Froggy Bow, but he recovers with a big lariat and wins the match with a J Driller. It is what it is. Next, they do a backstage segment with Tony Deppen, and he issues a challenge. And I'll admit, I did forget this. Oh, alright, time out. Because like I said, this is 2 hours ago now, and I'm trying to think how they were promoting the end of the show, and they forgot to mention this part. But they interviewed Tony Deppen backstage, and he's a former ROH TV champion. And next week, he'll be challenging the current ROH TV champion, Samoa Joe. But the main thing I was saying is that they were promoting next week, this is a bit of a spoiler, they were promoting next week as 2 title matches, when in reality, it's 3 title matches. So next week, it will be Tony Deppen versus Samoa Joe, unless this match is not for the TV title, and I'm just misunderstanding it. Nevertheless, Tony Deppen versus Samoa Joe next week. Next match was the Infantry, which is Captain Sean Dean and Charlie Bravo, this is the first time I've seen Charlie Bravo, versus the Kingdom, who used to be the OGK. When they changed back to the Kingdom, I don't know. Maybe I'm just paying too much attention to it. The Infantry start the match with a double fist drop to Mike Bennett. Charlie Bravo tries to fight back, but the Kingdom double team him in their corner. Taven tries to hit a power bomb, but it's reversed into a neck breaker with Bennett and Dean tagged in, and then what is this? Charlie Bravo and Captain Sean Dean. This was a nice move. I was like, I'm trying to, again, like I said, this was 2 hours ago. I'm slowly forgetting this stuff. But Charlie Dean, that's actually funny. Sean Dean and Charlie Bravo hit. One of them hits the elbow and a spear double combination, but it does not matter as the Kingdom hit the Proton Pack for the win, which the Proton Pack is when Bennett has one, I'm pretty sure it's Charlie Bravo on his back in like a carryman's position, and Taven runs and drop kicks him with one boot, which is called a big boot. Again, this is the first time I'm reviewing like wrestling in the longest time. I am struggling. It is what it is. The Kingdom win the match. Next, again, this, a very good match. A match I didn't expect to be as good as it was. And again, probably the main reason I was interested in this, Zack Sabre Jr. versus Blake Christian for the New Japan World Television Championship. New Japan World TV title. Blake Christian got in a lot more offense than I expected in this match. They start the match off. Zack Sabre Jr. is trying to chain wrestle it, starting with a fireman's carry, but it ends up in a roll-up from Christian for a count of 2. Sabre works on the arm, but is reversed soon by Blake Christian. Then Sabre tries to work the hand. He does kind of what has mainly been famous by Pete Dunne / Butch, where he works the hand and like snaps the fingers back. Sabre tries to hit a leg sweep, but is reversed and by a kick to the face by Blake Christian, and then a crossbody by Blake Christian. Christian also hits an Alabama slam, and then he does the whip into the corner with both legs, where he has both legs, and then he whips them into the corner. Both end up on the apron, and Christian hits a spear, and then a Fosbury flop to the outside. Sabre locks in a Cobra twist once they both end back in the ring. Christian reverses a lariat to a Spanish fly for a count of 2. Soon it is followed by a super kick and a brainbuster for another quick 2 count. A 450 is reversed into a double wrist lock headlock for the win for Zack Sabre Jr. Like I said, Blake Christian got in more offense than I expected, and like I said, Zack Sabre Jr., who doesn't work for AEW or even Ring of Honor, he works for New Japan. You expect him to be more dominant, but he wasn't. So it was a good showing for Blake Christian, but Sabre retained his title at the end of the day. Next, we have Christopher Daniels versus Rohit Raju with Jora Jewel at ringside. And again, I'll be honest, this is the first time I am seeing Jora Jewel. I do remember Rohit Raju from Impact Wrestling, but he has not been there in about a year, probably plus, but this is the first time I'm seeing him in a minute. Rohit has the advantage early, but the tide turns when Daniels attempts an arm drag and a drop kick. Daniels ends up on the outside, but gets hit by a clothesline by Jora Jewel. Daniels tries to hit an Angel's Wing once they get back in the ring, but gets hit with a boot from Rohit. However, Daniels wins the match with an Angel's Wings. This is a very quick match. Something I didn't really expect this to be as quick as a match as it was, but it was a quick match with Daniels getting the win with the Angel's Wings. Next, Rhett Titus and Tracy Williams are being interviewed backstage, and this is very crazy, but it's definitely true. They're talking about how they've been in Ring of Honor for a long time. Rhett Titus has been in Ring of Honor for 17 years, which that was the crazy part, and talk about that they look forward to their future and that they want to be a good tag team. But another good tag team pops up with Aussie Open, and they issue a challenge for them next week. So we do have a lot of promotion for next week's show already, because we have Joe and Deppen. Now we have Aussie Open and Rhett Titus. Aussie Open versus Rhett Titus and Tracy Williams. Next, in my opinion, what was match of the night, Konosuke Takeshita versus Josh Woods. And I've always pronounced it Katsuki Toshida, but I hearing commentators say it, and now I know how to actually say it, Konosuke Takeshita. Earlier in the show, Takeshita was being interviewed, but Smart Mark Sterling, who again is aligned with the Trustbusters along with Joshua Woods, was trying to stop the match from happening, but by offering Takeshita, they said we can just cancel the match and we split the purse 50-50, and then he kept lowering the amount of money that Takeshita would get. He's like, with my fee and whatnot, and then Takeshita just said, screw it, we still wrestling. So, let me try. They begin the match with a test of strength, and then they start with the shoulder, like where one stands in the ring, and then they run into each shoulders, because they're both big, juicy, meaty guys. Please don't take that out of context. Woods dominates while in the corner. Then Takeshita is able to hit a German suplex in the center of the ring. Then he hits an Oliva kick, and then he hits a DDT on the apron. And I'll admit this, I'm not saying Takeshita ripped off El Generico. Definitely not. But a lot of his moves are El Generico related. I just noticed that I've noticed it for a while, but it mainly popped out in a Ring of Honor ring. Takeshita misses a crossbody, but recovers with a Blue Thunder Bomb for the count of 2. Which again, I was like, that was his finisher. I thought it was his finisher, but it wasn't, because it was only a 2 count. Woods hits a gut wrench powerbomb and a knee for another 2 count. We get a second rope neck breaker from Woods. Once both recover from this neck breaker, both hit each other at forearms to the face. Then Woods tries to attempt a chaos theory, and then it is reversed by Takeshita. Katsuke. Oh my god, I am doubling down on it. Tashida attempts his own chaos theory, which he's able to hit and win the match. So, like I said, this was probably my favorite match of the night just because it's the most back and forth and actual different action taking place during the match. And hopefully we see both in Ring of Honor more. Next, I don't want to say it was a squash match, but it was a 6-man tag, and literally one of the teams only had one guy participate. It was the Embassy versus Joe Keys, LSG, and Rex Lawless. I'm glad. All right, they did not even get entrances. I will put that out there. Khan takes out Lawless on the outside because they're already in the ring, and then Khan just stands on the apron, and Rex tries to attack him, and then Khan just beats him up, and then Toa takes out Keys, so that leaves Brian Cage and LSG in the ring by themselves, and Cage beats him up. Khan, and then all three of the Embassy are in the corner. Khan hits a sidewalk slam off on the top rope onto LSG. Then Toa hits a splash on the apron onto LSG, and then Brian Cage hits a top rope suplex and then don't really know. This is I don't really know what they call it. They didn't have like a name for it, but it was kind of a Shield triple power bomb, but instead of them like holding him up, they like launched him into Brian Cage, and then he hit the power bomb. Like I said, this is a quick match. The Embassy won fairly quickly. Next, we had Metalik, who in WWE was Grand Metalik, and then he's competed in ROH since as Masquerade Dorada. Now he's going by Metalik. Don't know when the change happened. Doesn't really matter. I'm calling him Metalik. He faced Ari Daivari in the third and final time we'll see the Trustbusters tonight. Metalik starts the match with several arm drags and hurricanranas and drop kicks. Then Slim J, who was on the outside, distracts Metalik, and then Ari pushes him into the ring post on the outside. Daivari then dominates once they get back into the ring. Metalik walks the apron like how Commander did last night on Dynamite, which I'm only saying that just because it's fairly recent memory. And then he hits a crossbody, and then Daivari goes to the outside, and he hits a swanton once Daivari stands up when on the outside. Once they get back in the ring, Daivari hits a super kick and tries to hit a splash of his own, but is reversed into a roll-up attempt. Then Slim J comes in the ring and while Smart Mark is distracting the referee, and Slim J tries to attack Metalik, but then he gets pushed, and then Metalik rolls up Daivari, but the referee is distracted, and then they count 1-2, but like I said, the referee is distracted, so he's a bit distracted, or slowed down, and then Metalik is arguing with the referee, but Daivari then hits him with a big lariat and wins the match for himself. Next, we got 2 women's matches taking place. The first one being Madison Rayne and Sky Blue versus the Renegade Twins, which I will be honest with you, I've seen them wrestle on AEW a couple times. Did not know their names until this. Charlotte and Robin. And I'm going to be honest with you, I couldn't tell the difference in them. The Ian Riccaboni, shout out to him, he did know the difference, but they didn't really do much offense for me to like negate which one I need to talk about. Robin, however, starts the match with Sky Blue. Lots of roll-up attempts between the two, and then both eventually tag out, meaning Charlotte and Madison Rayne come in. Sky comes back in soon after and gets a boot to the face from one of the Renegade Twins. Then the Renegades cut the ring off and dominate Sky Blue in their corner, but eventually Sky Blue is able to get a tag, the hot tag, into Madison Rayne. Madison Rayne hits a cutter, and then Charlotte hits a Michinoku driver on Madison Rayne. Then Sky Blue hits a super kick onto Charlotte, and then Robin hits a forearm onto Sky Blue, but her sister was on the outside. Sky Blue and Madison Rayne then double team on Robin and win the match with a Skyfall, which, again, if I have to, I've never seen this move. I don't know how to describe this move. The best way I could describe it is a reverse STO without Sky Blue actually hitting the ground. So, again, the best way for me to describe it is it was just a push to the ground. I wasn't really that impressed with this match. It did pick up in the second half, but nothing of real note took place. Now, again, I mentioned earlier that they said that we're going to, again, I don't know if Tony Deppen and Samoa Joe next week is a title match. I'm going to look this up now. But we do have 2 title matches announced soon after this, as one, Dalton Castle will be competing next week, and Samoa Joe. Like I said, they played the video, and I'm like, oh yeah, Joe's competing. But like at the very end of the show, they did not show the graphic for Joe and Deppen. They just said Samoa Joe's competing next week. So they already announced who he's freaking facing next week. but didn't promote it as, hey, he's fighting Tony Deppen. So it very much has confused me. But Willow Nightingale, no, before we get to that match, I do have to say, Wheeler Yuta came out and was being interviewed by Ian Riccaboni, and Ian Riccaboni called him the junior member of the BCC, and he did not like that. He said that he's done too much and learned too much from his other BCC members to be called the junior member still, and that he issues an open challenge for the pure title, which is answered by Timothy Thatcher. I just typed in Samoa Joe, and they're going to tell me that this freaking wrestler does not exist. Yes, he does. I'm going to be working on this next thing. Next, we get Lady Frost versus Willow Nightingale, and I'm going to be honest, Willow dominated this match, mainly with lariats and a big power bomb. Frost did hit a great-looking moonsault, which was her finisher, but it only gave her the count of 2, and then Willow won the match with a reverse, where Lady Frost tried to hit her with a lariat, but is reversed into a sit-out powerbomb for the win. After this match, Ian Riccaboni interviewed Willow Nightingale, and she said that she was in the old regime of ROH and has won in her last 2 appearances for ROH, which would have been Death Before Dishonor and Final Battle, and that she's challenging Athena next week. And Athena came out and accepted the challenge. So like I said, next week, we're getting at least 2 title matches. Wheeler Yuta versus Timothy Thatcher, and not Lady Frost. Willow Nightingale versus Athena. What is this guy's name? Tony Deppen. This is when you try to multitask. Multitask is not good for videos, and it's showing me I'm not prepared, but to be fair, they kind of confuse me. Haha, here we go. I'm on the page. It is definitely a title match. Spoiler alert, it is a title match. So we got 3 title matches. They promoted 2, but it's 3 title matches. So, And speaking of a title match, our main event of this first episode was for the Ring of Honor World title, Claudio Castagnoli versus A.R. Fox. A.R. Fox dives through the second rope and tries to hit a DDT, but Claudio reverses it into an uppercut. Claudio has the advantage at this point and tries to attempt a press slam soon after, but is reversed into a head scissors. But Claudio stops A.R. Fox's top rope move after this head scissors. Claudio again dominates the match at this point with another uppercut and suplex combination, and then has a sharpshooter in the center of the ring, but Fox is able to get to the ropes. Fox is able to hit a DDT while Claudio was trapped in the ropes. Claudio tries to fight back, but Fox is able to hit a cutter for... oh my goodness, Austin. I have no clue what that is. It is what it is. Oh, from the bottom rope. That is what I said. So he hit the cutter from the bottom rope. I'm like, I have no clue what I was writing there. Fox does a dive to the outside and a swan tomb once they come back in. Fox tries to attempt at least another pop-up, which if you notice AR Fox's moves, he does the whole pop-up and then he hits the cutter. He tries to do one of these pop-ups, but Claudio reverses it into a swing attempt, which I really like that. Claudio then locks in a sharpshooter and then a crossface, but is reversed by Fox into a pin attempt. Claudio attempts something off the top rope, but Fox reverses it into a rolling Death Valley driver in 450 for a 2 count. Fox then tries to attempt a springboard off the top rope, but Claudio is able to reverse it and win the match with one last uppercut. So this match was mainly Claudio dominating, mainly with uppercuts and sharpshooters, but once AR Fox had the offense, a lot of high flying moves, but it ended up biting him in the butt as Claudio hit one last uppercut to win the match. And we thought we were going to go off happy, but the recently quit Eddie Kingston comes down and says that he is a independent contractor, which I don't think this segment was on Dynamite last night. I think it was on online exclusive, maybe, because I don't remember seeing it on Dynamite. But he quit AEW, and a lot of people were mad about it, but a lot of people already knew that what just happened here already happened, so they kind of thought they were spoiled. But Eddie Kingston comes out, like I said, and says he's an independent contractor, and he promised Moxley that he wouldn't beat Claudio in AEW, but this ain't AEW, this is ROH, and he challenges Claudio for the ROH World title. And then he's like, oh, you want to say something? You want to say so? He tries to give him the mic, but Claudio walks away. So, Claudio, Eddie Kingston for the ROH World title at some point. Claudio, I believe, at some point pointed at, because there's a billboard promoting Supercard of Honor. I think he pointed at it at some point, but it was kind of a bad camera angle. And they didn't officially announce the match for Super Card of Honor, but we can fully anticipate a title match between the two in the future. And that was it for the first episode of the new era of Ring of Honor. Like I said, a lot of this... okay, let me go through this. Now, ROH was never 2 hours during their TV days. And so, this definitely was a bit of an adjustment. And this is kind of... I don't watch AEW Dark and Dark Elevation, but when I do, it kind of felt like a way better version of it. Because with Dark and Dark Elevation, it's mainly squash matches. Where with tonight, a lot of these were competitive matches. The only real squash match was the 6-man tag. But all these matches were really back and forth. So I think it's a way better version of Dark and Dark Elevation. And a lot of these have storylines or storyline implications to come out of it, just like this title match. Also, there are title matches on here, so I think it's the best way for me to describe it, if you're an AEW fan, and you never watched ROH, it was a better version of Dark and Dark Elevation. I definitely enjoyed it. I definitely had to get back into rhythm of reviewing things, because I was struggling at some points, but, like I said, when I was reviewing ROH, it was always 1 hour, and to think back, and like 2 hours ago I was able to watch this, I'm like, I already forgot stuff, and I do have some sloppy handwriting. So, like I said, it's going to take a while for me to get back into the rhythm of reviewing things. I am glad that ROH is back. Like I said, one thing, this is kind of a, if you're, like, this is the end of the review. This is kind of a small talk portion, so thank you for watching, but I want to continue talking. One thing that I don't like doing is starting a series and then just out of nowhere stopping it when in reality it like continues. So what I'm getting at is, like, for now I'm going to review ROH TV, because like I said, I don't know how many people are going to be going out of their way to watch ROH, and again, I don't know how many people are going to be going out of their way to review it. So I kind of want to give insight and opinion on something that a lot of people might not know about. And like I said, I love ROH, and if somebody should be reviewing ROH, it's somebody that has watched it and had history with it. I have the freaking old school shirt on purpose, by the way. So, that is, I want to review it now. It does have me a bit triggered that I have to pay for it to review it, but at least I'm watching the other stuff that is on Honor Club, because I used to have Honor Club back in the day, and then I canceled it because I had seen, like, everything that I'd wanted to see. Luckily, they have added a lot of new stuff on there, but a lot of the older content is very shaky, because it's very weird. Like, 2010 and prior, the way it's set up, the whole app, definitely needs some improvement. So, like, when you go to the event archives and it's like 2010 and higher, the way they have it broke down is like you click on the event and then it goes match by match, which is nice. But like I say, when it gets to like 2011 and 12 and beyond, it's not like that. You go to the event, you watch the full event. So, like, at the end all, it's not the biggest deal, but I want to give an example. So, last night, I was going to try to watch Final Battle 2006, because I've never seen the show in its entirety. And the main match of that show is Homicide and Bryan Danielson. That match is not on there. So, I know, like, that show, but if you're somebody that's just watching Honor Club and you're just wanting to watch some stuff, there's definitely stuff missing. And it's definitely a big question mark. So, hopefully they improve it, the Honor Club. Like I said, hopefully they add it to where you can just watch it and be able to pause. Because, like I said, I still have to go to the restroom, and I still haven't. So, we'll see. At the end of the day, I don't really have any, like, big complaints. It's just kind of a minor thing that I'd like to see fixed. What I was getting at is, at some point, I'm probably not going to have Honor Club. So, at some point, that would mean the TV reviews stop, unless they end up on somewhere where you don't have to pay for it. Wink, wink. But we will see when that happens. But for now, I'll be reviewing ROH TVs. I love ROH. I've said that several times in this, but it is what it is. So, I have another wrestling-related video coming Saturday with my AEW Revolutions predictions. So, and I don't know if I'll have a video up tomorrow, but like I said, one review ROH TV. Don't know how many other people are going to be watching ROH. I don't know how many other people are going to be reviewing it, so I kind of wanted to be different. And I have history and have done ROH TV reviews before, so I kind of want to do it. But like I said, I need to get back into rhythm of things. So, hopefully, like I said, next week we have at least pretty much 3 title matches. So, next week's show definitely looks very good. And I'll see you when I see you. Thank you for watching this video. Please like and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next one.